So let me just introduce very quickly. We have with us Mr. James Xia. That's right. He's CEO and co-founder of ArcLab, a mobile learning SaaS platform. Basically, what it does is that it basically empowers organizations to upskill workforces effectively. Now, James has been in education technology for the last 10 years or so, and actually started his career at Monetary Authority of Singapore, serving in London and Singapore as portfolio manager and deputy director. So he's also a graduate of Cornell University and Cornell Institute for Public Affairs. So he has experience both in the private sector as well as the public sector, which is very important, right? When we talk about operating in the Singapore TAE, right? Because we do serve within the entire governmental kind of structure and context, especially WSQ and so on, which is very important for us. So James actually set up and founded or co-founded ArcLab. So let me talk a bit about ArcLab. Is really the vision is really to upskill the world's deskless workforce through the world's simplest learning system. Wow. So it's also featured in Holland's IQ's inaugural Southeast Asia EdTech 50. Now, focus is on providing bite-sized training modules and digital SOPs to employees on demand through mobile. All right, so you can see we provide assessment modules and so on as well, right? So ArcLab was really founded not too long ago. 2018 is, I probably think, is still like a startup with a lot of agility and drive and innovation as well. So there you have the various investors in ArcLab as well. All right. So we're looking forward to having James share with us what ArcLab does and also concerning the world's smallest and simplest learning system. Let's give a round of applause to James. Thank you. Sorry, James, you are muted, I think. No, we can't hear you now. We still can't hear you. Can you try speak again? Oh, no, we can't hear you. Can you try and speak again? No, we can't hear you. Not yet. Um, just hold on, everybody. All right, just hang in there. Sure. Yeah, no worries. James, we'll see you in a while. All right, very good. Okay, so that's where you have it, technology and what it can do and cannot do for us, right? But it's really interesting because if you see in the next track, especially with James, he's going to talk about mobile learning. He's going to bring in his experience over the past many years in terms of mobile learning. But not just that, right? Because subsequently, the next three speakers after him as well, we would have Sid from Playware Studio. We will have Avinda from Visionary Schoolman. We also have as well. Let me just get it back to you.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you absolutely loud and clear.
Perfect.
Over to you, James.
Thank you, Michael. So I guess the live lesson here is if something doesn't work, turn off and turn on again. Right. So again, very grateful for this opportunity to share some of our work and learn from everyone. I'm James from ArcLab. We are a mobile learning software as a service platform. We help companies and training providers to train and support workforces anytime, anywhere, in any language, especially for rank and file frontline workforces. We primarily work with companies but have training providers using our platform too. So ArcLab is honored to be featured in Southeast Asia EdTech 50, and we're proof that we're meeting a market need, solving a big problem, and doing it in a very scalable way. Next slide, please. First up, huge thanks to Institute for Adult Learning, Innovation Center, and SkillsFuture Singapore for this kind invitation, and Michael for the excellent facilitation. Really thank you for your ongoing work supporting enterprises and upscaling workforces as well as the TAE sector. And congratulations to the organizing team on a fantastic SkillsFuture month. Next slide, please. This is ArcLab's leadership team. We are advised by leaders in academia, HR, strategy, and L&D. Our CTO, Stephen, and myself are both ex-public servants turned entrepreneurs, and we have a desire to create impact via training and education. Next slide, please. COVID-19 is an ongoing tragedy, with lives continuing to be lost, especially in countries where the healthcare system is not so well resourced and where vaccines are harder to access. So hopefully these countries can turn the corner soon. However, one upshot of the pandemic has been the acceleration in the adoption of digital. This is no different for the training space. Here at ArcLab, we've had the privilege to serve many more companies in the past 18 months, with a significant increase in signups and platform usage. And we hope to serve even more of you as ArcLab continues to build out and scale. Next slide, please. The de facto fallback rather, is Zoom, as I'm sure everybody here agrees is a good substitute, but not perfect. And Zoom fatigue is very real because of two factors. First, because we no longer need to travel, we are packing more into one day, whether it be meetings or training. The second, Zoom has an inbuilt time lag feature between audio and video, and that can be very tiring for our brain to process. So in summary, Zoom is an okay substitute for training. Personally, I'm completing a course at IL next month, conducted more than 80% through Zoom. It works, but it isn't perfect, despite the excellent work and effort of all my facilitators and instructors. There's only so much Zoom that we can take, which is why, fun fact, this presentation is going to take less time than what I've been allocated. So rest assured. Next slide, please. As we all know, Zoom isn't too great for performance support. Imagine that I'm a worker and I need to reference some training material in the workplace. It is very impractical to store Zoom recordings on your phone and try to find that content piece. It simply cannot be done. And you can't Zoom a digital SOP. Furthermore, assessment is also very difficult to be done over Zoom. Next slide, please. At ArcLab, our focus is on helping companies to upskill deskless workforces, especially those that are not so digitally savvy, not so educated. They do not have the luxury of workstations or computers. Companies like Feixiong Group, where we have our favorite Encik Tan, Let's Eat, Nam Ki Pao, Malaysia Boleh, employing more than 1,600 staff. We're humbled to serve their staff upskilling and communication needs, where bite-sized training modules are deployed with a click of a button in the ArcLab platform, direct to staff's mobile phones. There is no app to download, no username or passwords for staff to remember. It is fuss-free to train and inclusive for all ages and without needing digital savvy. So our work was acknowledged by Holland IQ, as I mentioned earlier, and we were the only Singapore education technology company that presented at the Economist Tech for Change Week earlier this year. It was a huge honor and responsibility to represent Singapore, and we're proud to have the chance to share our work with policymakers, companies, and change makers all over the world. Next slide, please. These are some other organizations that ArcLab has the privilege to serve. Currently, we serve organizations in 4 countries, but we're still in day 1 of our journey, and we're working to serve even more, hopefully some of you too. Next slide, please. So ArcLab's work is to build the simplest training system, which is not easy to do because technology firms like to build complex things which aren't necessarily usable by the wider population. You just take a look at your favorite ride-hailing app, whichever one you use. It requires you to know English to use it. Why? Because the locations are in English. And that's immediately a barrier for a significant part of our population. ArcLab's work is guided by the companies we serve and the workforces they employ. And they need training to be simple, fuss-free, and inclusive in multiple languages. Exactly the platform we've been building since we launched. Next slide, please. The ArcLab workflow is extremely simple. Author training in your editor dashboard. If you can use PowerPoint or Google Slides, you can use ArcLab. We design it such that my 10-year-old and 12-year-old can use it easily, and so can you. Configure who your designated learners are, invite them to start their training with the click of a button, and that's it. ArcLab supports video and other rich media and all sorts of gamified assessments in any language. So training is engaging for your learners, no matter their age, digital savvy, or language proficiency. Next slide, please. All learner performance data is tracked in the ArcLab dashboard. So we know what our learners understand and what they don't, and then we intervene accordingly. Next slide, please. How is ArcLab used? Any way you want. ArcLab is used by organizations such as SUTD to onboard new hires before they even step onto campus. These asynchronous sessions complement the eventual face-to-face or synchronous training that the new hires may then undergo. With their familiarity with the ArcLab interface, they then use our platform for ongoing training. Next slide, please. As mentioned, ArcLab is used by many organizations for training, be it the end user company like Faceyong, Four Fingers, etc., or training consultancies such as Business Academia, who use ArcLab to support their training workshops, delivering pre-course reading, in-course assessment, and post-course evaluations. Next slide, please. And slightly different use case here, the HR departments of our customers love ArcLab for its very simplicity. Our rating feature and our poll feature is extremely popular. Companies such as the Hourglass use ArcLab for annual peer ratings for their staff in 7 countries. The Lo and Behold Group use ArcLab for employee engagement surveys for their entire workforce. Next slide, please. Last but not least, ArcLab is used to create digital SOPs for staff to reference, and in line with the training concept of fading, which every ACLP graduate knows, gradually referring less and less to the material as staff get more competent. Digital SOPs are stored in the cloud and accessible by learners on their phones directly. So no more grimy, greasy SOP binders in the kitchen. Next slide, please. All these different use cases I mentioned, we curate the best of them into templates and make them accessible to all our users on ArcLab Discover. With ArcLab Discover, AEs and L&D teams no longer have to build training modules from scratch. Use our base templates, add in your content, your IP, your magic, and you can deliver your version to your learners. Rest assured, everything you create in ArcLab, that content IP belongs to you, not to ArcLab. Next slide, please. Business Academia is an example of a forward-thinking training consultancy who has made 6 of their training modules available on ArcLab Discover. All ArcLab users can use them at no charge and go to Business Academia if they want more in-depth training. So this is a win-win as companies get good quality and complementary training, and training providers access ArcLab's users and extend their reach to deliver more impact. Next slide, please. ArcLab's goal is to recreate workplace learning and to help organizations to build digital competencies for the future, or should I say the digital present. We're glad to share this work with you today and hope you can join us in this shared goal, which our government is a big proponent of. Next slide, please. Creating training in ArcLab is absolutely free. ArcLab is a freemium SaaS platform, so you don't even need to talk to me to start. Just go to arclab.io and you're on your way. You can create your own account and you can create your own training. Next slide, please. That's really it. So here's an ArcLab module that I made, which captures our presentation today. I would like to invite you to take your phones out to scan this QR code at the top right of your screen. And you will have today's presentation right there in your smartphone. So this is us as ArcLab, dog fooding our product. That's ArcLab, fuss-free, inclusive training, mobile learning without an app, anytime, anywhere, in any language. I hope to welcome you onto our platform. Get in touch if you have any questions and if we can support in any way. Happy to address any questions anyone might have, but first let me hand the time back to Michael. Thank you. Michael, please.
Thanks, James. That was really impressive, and I really enjoyed your presentation. It goes along with your branding of ArtLab and as a very simple, very straightforward, almost all-in-one solution in a phone. So I thought that was really interesting. I mean, you hit all the keywords, right, that we use in TAE now: workplace learning, performance support, assessment, even HRM, right, when it comes to SOPs and driving some of those things that are required at the HR level. So we have one interesting question, I thought, which maybe just to elaborate a little bit more. The question was really about whether ArcLab can be accessed on desktop as well as mobile. I suppose the implication is actually if it's PC based, then can you do a lot more and so on, right, on PC, especially when it comes to assessment. So over to you.
Yep. Thank you, Michael, and thank you to the great question from the participant. I think the answer is that as long as you have a browser, you can open ArcLab. So on mobile, you open it in your mobile browser. On your computer, you open it in your computer browser. The short answer is yes. However, the interface would still be vertical because we are primarily serving learners who do not have access to computers. So the layout and everything would still be similar. However, I think one thing that is beneficial is that for content creators and L&D and TA and AEs, you just need to worry about one interface and everything would display the same regardless of whether it is on the computer, on the mobile phone, or your tablet. Thanks for that question.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. Right, Rachel posed that question. I thought also it would be very nice later on when we actually go on to the panel discussion. I think ArtLab would do very well. It will fit very well with the regionalization push, especially to countries where possibly bandwidth is an issue, and so mobile data would be very, very critical here in terms of accessing the content there as well.
Indeed.
Right. You still have 3 more minutes. That's amazing. Right. Any kind of a key punchlines that you just want to make, to all our viewers? Here we have about 100 plus viewers, and yeah, any punchlines
Sure.
there?
I think really just get started. ArcLab is freemium, so just go on. There's a basic tier. If you don't want to ever pay me, that's also fine. We hope you eventually find value in the product, but ArcLab Basic is absolutely free for you to start. Just go there, create an account, and just play it for yourself, and you'll see that it provides value, and then you continue. So just get started, bite size, and then scale up later if it serves your needs. Thank you very much, Michael.
Well, let me get it right. So it's a freemium model. So it's free to start. Anyone can go on, and then they gain experience. They like the experience. Then they can sign up further. They can add on, and they can subscribe. Especially for those from enterprises, I think that will be a real draw for some of them to just get their hands dirty and try something. Even in my interaction with many L&D people, sometimes they are so lost, right, in terms of so many LMSs out there or so many mobile kind of solutions out there. I thought ArtLab actually provides a very nice kind of solution for anyone who's new to come on board and just to give it a go. All right, and that's really nice.
Thank you, Michael.
We'll see you back again on the panel at 4:30 as well. So reserve some of your very good stories for us later on as well.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.